Okay, it's 8:15 and the Winter Games are wrapping up, but if you have a young athlete, or maybe you are a young athlete and you have your eyes set on 2016, well, get ready.
That's right, the Summer Games in Brazil. And this morning, we are joined by Anthony Donskov from Donskov Strength and Conditioning. He is here to tell us about what it takes to make it to the Games. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So that is the million-dollar question. What does it take to become an Olympic athlete?
That's a tough question. I think it takes both. You have to have some intangible qualities and some tangible qualities, obviously, to make it to the Games.
Okay.
Intangibles, determination, desire, passion. You got to love what you do. And obviously, the tangible qualities, strength, power, capacity, those physical elements. And I might make the argument that probably the intangibles are just as important.
Yeah, and so if you are contemplating it, I guess those are the things you have to look inward to?
Sure, absolutely. There's a lot of sacrifice. There's hours and hours of deliberate practice that not everybody sees. They see the performances and the games, which are obviously fascinating and fun to watch. But there's so much that goes into it. There's a lot of hard work and there's a lot of commitment.
For any parents who have, really talented athletes.
Sure.
And they're young, what do they need to do next? I mean, who do they even talk to? Who do they consult for this sort of thing?
Yeah, well, I think it's important that as a young athlete, several things. Number one, you got to love what you do. That makes all the efforts and the sacrifices worth it. We don't start training young athletes at our facility until the ages of 12. I think we really endorse and we really push athletes to play multiple sports, get a good base of fitness, a good base of function, agility, balance, coordination, etc. And then when it's time to look for a coach, for a strength coach that is, I think three elements are really important. Number one, obviously that's got to be a good person, someone that you want your son or daughter to learn from and hold high character. Number two, I think it's important to have a lot of experience, a lot of results training athletes, practical application in what you do. And last but not least, the science. There's a lot of science that goes into what we do, and it changes daily. Sure. So I think it's important to stay on the cutting edge of science as well for a strength coach. So those are three important elements I think that strength coaches should possess.
Right, and well, you hear it all the time. Let's say it's a parent, though. Maybe it's a parent's dream and not necessarily the child's. Then what do you do?
That's a great question. I always say, I'm fond of saying, don't set the path for your kid, help shape the path. Parents should not dream on behalf of their kids, and I think it's important that we redefine success. And here's what I mean by that. I think parents should not be rated on their success, whether their son or daughter plays major Division I college sports or plays in the Olympics or plays professional sports, but instead that success, should be redefined as, is your son or daughter coachable? Are they a good teammate? Do they do well in school? Again, this comes back to character, so I think that's the most important thing.
Okay, you guys have a connection to the Olympics in
Sochi.
Sochi.
Yes. I've been fortunate enough for the last 2.5 years to work under our head strength and conditioning coach, Michael Boyle, with the U.S. women's national team, the team that we're very, very proud of. They just got a silver medal in Sochi.
Woo!
And so we're very proud, myself and several other assistant strength coaches assist our head strength coach, Mike Boyle, in program implementation, obviously their conditioning, and their protocol.
Wonderful. And, and I want to ask one other thing.
Sure.
You had mentioned, that you usually start training at 12. That's when you think. But, you see parents 3 years old, they're already thinking of the Olympics, and they start very, very young. Is that too young?
Yes, in my opinion, yes. And a lot of the information that we get is from the long-term athletic development model. So we do a lot of research in the science. And I think when it comes to playing team sports, what we found is if you look at the base of a pyramid, or they're very solid structures. They have a foundation, a solid foundation. And that foundation for sport is based on physical literacy. What I mean by that is by playing multiple sports at an early age and specializing later in athletic development, we're able to build a solid foundation of movement, balance, coordination, agility, motor coordination. And it should be noted, too, that when a young 12-year-old comes into our facility, we don't just throw weights in their hands, right? We take them through, we have a philosophy in our facility called the do no harm philosophy. Number one, do no harm in the weight room. Number two, we want to reduce the chance of injury on the ice or on the field. And last but not least, we want to enhance performance. So we have progressions and regressions for every single exercise in our weight room. And when a young athlete comes in our facility, we want to make sure they're in a safe environment, and we do that by building from the ground up.
That sounds great.
You got to be careful. Anthony Donskov, thank you so much
Thanks for having me.
Okay, to learn more about how to get trained by Anthony and his team, just visit our website, myfox28columbus.com, and click on news links.